Hi, I'm Dana Hokana. I want to help you learn and understand how horses learn and how behaviors are set in motion and how behaviors can be changed. I want to teach you an exciting principle called behavior modification. Behavior modification was developed by a research scientist in the 1940s named Ivan Pavlov. He had a Dalmatian dog, and he discovered that when he brought the food out to the dog would salivate. He also discovered that he could come out with his food, watch it salivate, and he could transfer that stimulus to a different stimulus. So let's talk about that. The food coming to the dog was a stimulus. The salivating was a response. So he could control the response of the salivating by the food. He also found he could transfer the response to a different stimulus, and he came out with food, a bell which he rang, and he saw that the dog soon associated the bell with the response of the salivating. So he pretty soon didn't need the food. He could ring a bell and that dog would salivate. Well, your horse has had a behavior ingrained in them and a pattern ingrained in them that maybe you didn't even realize you were teaching. Or maybe whoever had your horse before you had ingrained some patterns and behaviors in your horse and you don't know where it came from and why. So let me give you an example. If your horse is one that maybe tosses their head when you draw up or bump up on their head, if you pick up your reins and they toss their head, you picking up on the reins is a stimulus. Their response is them tossing their head. So the way that was ingrained is somebody picked up or jerked, the horse tossed their head in resistance or in the reaction, a response, and then they were released and that was started. Then pretty soon that horse, every time they felt somebody coming and picking up on their face, they're ready to toss their head. That pattern was ingrained. Do you know that the only way you can change that response is to get in control of the response? To control the response by several things. Changing the stimulus, changing that stimulus into a soft, steady draw or pickup, and staying with it until the response becomes a soft, willing give in the face and a good response. You see, riders that either get backed off and afraid or don't think about what they're doing, they constantly have an interaction with their horse and their horse responds and they're not paying attention to what's going on in the response. So what happens is when the horse starts responding in a incorrect, dangerous, or even afraid or unnaturally good or poor way, the person rewards it by giving to them. When you change and control the response, so for example, this mare, since the time we've owned her, has, if she stands too long, started shaking her head and mouthing at the bit, right? So this is a learned behavior. This would take a long time for me to change it. But one way, it's already gotten better, one way I can change it is I can take pressure and apply pressure to the bit, and as she stresses out a little bit or gets just worried for a minute, I can stay in there and stay in that pressure and reward her and get her relaxed until she accepts the pressure. Then I release. She may then go right back and do it again, but I have kind of a saying, if it took 1,000 times of 1,000 wrong bumps or 1,000 wrong stimuluses to get 1,000 wrong responses, how many will it take to repair that? How many will it take to rebuild that? 1,001, 1,010, or 500? That kind of depends on your horse. And so it is so important that you discern when you ride, when you handle your horse, if their response to what you're doing is something you like and are happy with. And if you want to ingrain it into a behavior, because it will ingrain into a behavior pattern if you don't control that response. Another example might be walking up to her with fly spray and she jumps sideways, right? And I just fly spray her anyway. I've started to teach her that when the fly spray comes, she's going to jump sideways or get nervous. Instead, if I take just that extra minute and go all the way through and maybe relax her as the fly spray is coming at her and maybe pat her as I'm here, or as I even just touch her with the bottle of the fly spray until she relaxes, and spray her. And if she's nervous, spray her again, talk to her, spray her again until she accepts that. I am ingraining and creating a new behavior. You are really in control of the reactions or responses you get out of your horse. And now I want to take it even a step further. Start discerning, is your horse responding to your cues or are they reacting? When a horse is responding, they become your team member and you are actually training and teaching. When they are reacting, you're really not in control. That's when things can go wrong. That's when horses can start bad habits that you don't like, that become a real problem, is that horse learns to react rather than respond. So I hope this helps you. Some food for thought today. Start paying attention to the stimulus or the cue you give your horse and the reaction or the response your horse gives you. Hi, I'm Dana Hokana. I want to tell you about Team Hokana Video Club. Team Hokana Video Club is an online video club with access to over 200 training and riding videos available anytime, anywhere. Those videos contain so many topics like learning horse behavior, colt breaking, body control, preparing for the show arena, preparing for high-level show arena like the World Show. Whatever you do, you're going to find help there. How to develop feel and timing, how to get your horse light in the face, the correct way to put a horse in a shank bridle, learning about bits and bridles, how to improve your seat and your balance and your rhythm, understanding how horses move and how to improve their movement. Team Hokana has so much. You'll learn about ranch riding, lead changes, trail, western pleasure, horsemanship, any event you compete in, even hunter under saddle, groundwork, whatever you do, you will learn and excel after watching Team Hokana.
Great. I loved being able to have Team Hokana as a great resource because I do a lot of it at home. And so to be able to use those videos and kind of seek out things where my horses maybe had a few issues, and it's really great and organized by category, so I could find something about departures and transitions and stuff and be able to go and apply that to my horses.
A lot of us have dreams, but that dream is nothing more than a fantasy until you put knowledge to it. Sign up today at Hokana.com.